In this video, we are going to talk about the 3 immutable laws of law firm lead generation. Violate these laws at your own risk. Now, the first law that you must observe every single time you try to get a lead for your law firm is to sell the resort, not the plane ride. Now, what does that mean? You have to understand that your clients, your ideal clients, your leads, right now, they're currently here. And what they want is they want to get here. They want to get to a destination. So right now they've got a problem and they want to go from problem to solution. The thing to understand is that your legal services are the vehicle that takes them to the result. So they don't actually want your legal services. Nobody wants to sue the insurance company. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. No one wants to get a divorce. No one wants to go through criminal charges and deal with all that stuff. What they want is they want the outcome. So they want the destination. So think about it this way. Imagine that you're selling a vacation. Would you sell the airplane ride or would you sell the resort? And chances are, if you're a smart business person, you would talk about the resort. You would talk about how there's unlimited food. You would talk about how it's right on the beach. You would talk about how it's absolutely beautiful. You wouldn't talk about the airplane ride that takes them from where they started, so their home airport, all the way to the resort. But this is the problem that I see lawyers making all the time. Lawyers are constantly talking about their legal services, the vehicle, but they're not talking about the destination. They're not talking about the thing that the clients actually want. So, for example, on our landing pages, when we run ads for clients, for Facebook ads or for Google ads or things like that, one of the biggest differences that we found that increase conversions to sometimes up to 16, 20, 25% even in some cases. Selling the resort, or basically talking about the outcome that the client actually wants rather than just offering legal services. So for example, a bad landing page would say, "Are you looking for a divorce lawyer?" But a great landing page would say something like, "We help fathers get more time with their kids," or something like that. Think about what is it that they actually want. Everything in your messaging should be only about 3 things. 1, what is it that your ideal clients want? 2, how do they get it? And 3, what will their life be like after they get it? So always ask yourself, am I selling the resort, AKA the destination of where they actually want to get to? Are you selling the resort and all the benefits that go along with it? Or are you selling the vehicle? Are you selling the airplane ride, the thing that takes them to the actual resort? There's a great saying that if holes dug themselves, no one would ever buy a shovel. So the number 1 rule with all of your messaging whenever you're trying to get leads is to sell the resort, not the plane ride. Think about what is it that they actually want, what's the outcome that they want, and sell that. Now, the second immutable rule of law firm lead generation is to understand the buyer's journey. So many lawyers don't understand the 4 stages that buyers go through before they hire a law firm. Picture a funnel, right? Now, funnels become a big buzzword over the last few years, but I want to show you the 4 stages of buying and how this applies to you. So the first stage is at the very top, and this is where most people in the world fall. This is where they're either unaware of the problem they have, or they don't even have a problem. So for example, let's say somebody has not yet gotten into a car accident, or they don't yet know that their spouse is cheating on them, or whatever the issue is. They're unaware, or they don't have a problem. Now, once they become aware of the problem, or the problem occurs, the first thing they do is they go into the research phase. That's where they go to Google and they start searching for, how do I deal with neck pain? How do I deal with back pain? Do I need a car accident lawyer? All these research keywords and topics that your ideal leads, who will eventually be your clients, are looking for. That's the research phase. Then they enter into the vendor selection phase. Now, vendor selection is where they go to Google and they search for those buyer intent keywords like personal injury attorney near me, or DUI lawyer near me, or bankruptcy attorney near me, or criminal defense attorney, or whatever those keywords are. And then after vendor selection, that is when they go into the hiring phase. That's where they make their selection and they actually go on to hire somebody. Now, if you look at this, there's opportunities to market to people at different phases of their buyer journey. Now, what's interesting is that most lawyers advertise in the vendor selection stage. That's where most lawyers spend most of their money. But the reality is 97% of people are actively in the research phase. So that means that only 3% of the people that need attorneys are actually in the vendor selection stage. The vast majority of people are in the research stage. 97% of the people that could hire you, that need to hire you, are in the research stage at any given time. However, virtually all the law firms out there, like 99% of the lawyers out there, advertise in the vendor selection stage alone. So what does this mean? This means that vendor selection ads, so ads like personal injury attorney or car accident attorney or DUI attorney, they're very expensive because the law of supply and demand tells us that when there's a lot of demand for just a few cases, so when all the attorneys are advertising for just 3% of the cases, prices go way up, right? So what do you do instead? Well, the best thing to do is to advertise in the research phase, because in the research phase, it's very, very cheap because not many attorneys are advertising in the research stage. They're not helping people answer questions that they're searching for, the questions that you know they already have. All you have to do is create content on these questions, and what will happen is they will find you, especially if you have a plan in place for that, right? Now, here's what's cool about this. So first of all, it's super cheap to advertise at the research phase. So for example, vendor selection, it could cost maybe $65 for DUI attorney. However, DUI penalties, or will I go to jail after a DUI, might cost you 50 cents, might cost you $1, something like that, significantly cheaper. Now I ask you, would someone be searching for those search terms if they had not gotten a DUI or not gotten whatever the thing is, right? The reality is that they wouldn't. There's no reason for them to search for that. Not only are these cheaper, but Forrester has done some research and they found that 82% of people prefer to hire the company that helps them perform the research. So what that means is that if you advertise to people during the research phase, not only is it going to be cheaper, not only is there fewer competition, but what ends up happening is they skip vendor selection altogether and they go straight to hiring you. When you understand the buyer's journey, then you can do a better job of reaching out to them and understanding what it is they're actually looking for. And you can prove you can help them by actually helping them. It's the oldest trick in the book, right? So if you understand this, then you can get way cheaper leads by advertising at the research stage. Now, I'm not saying don't advertise at the vendor selection stage. What I'm just saying is that you should not ignore the research stage, because the reality is that if you dollar cost average your leads from research and vendor selection, your overall cost to acquire a client is going to be significantly lower than your competition, which means that you can spend more money to get a client. And the number one rule in advertising is whoever can spend the most to acquire a client will always win every single time. So that's the second immutable law of law firm lead generation, is that you must understand the buyer's journey. Now, the third rule of law firm lead generation, it's immutable, it cannot be changed, is follow up. You have to follow up with people who don't take the action that you're looking to take. Imagine if you've ever been on a website like Amazon or BestBuy.com or Wayfair or one of the other really big websites out there. And let's say you're looking at a product like a toaster, for example. You leave the website and you don't buy the toaster. Have you ever noticed that all of a sudden that toaster appears everywhere? Why is that? The reason why is because Amazon and Best Buy and like all these huge companies, they have the data. They understand this statistic right here. They understand that only 3% of any given market is actually ready to buy. They understand that 97% of people who are in the market for a toaster, for example, even if they're showing interest in that toaster, are not yet ready to buy. So by spending a few more dollars on the follow-up, then they know that they're going to get these 97% of people to convert into the hire/buy, in this case, buy a toaster phase, right? Now, Why is this relevant to you? Well, this is relevant to you because the biggest companies in the world do this. The companies that have the data, that spend millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, collectively probably billions of dollars on advertising, if they do this, you need to understand that success leaves clues and you need to be doing this as well. Whenever you run an ad, whenever someone visits your website, whenever someone visits your landing page, whenever someone engages with a social media post of yours, you have to be prepared to show follow-up ads. Now, this is very simple to do. Any marketing company should be able to do this. You just have to install a simple piece of code and basically tell the system, hey, listen, when this person lands on this page, show them more videos and show them more ads and show them images and things like that, that will put us back in their perception, back in front of them. Advertising isn't the only way that you can follow up with people. So a lot of times people will run ads on social media like Facebook and Instagram, or they'll get emails from different campaigns, or they'll get submissions on their website form. A lot of times people say that these leads aren't very good, but I want to tell you a story about 2 clients that we had that we each got them 300 leads, and they got very different results for one very key reason. I want to show you what the difference is so that you can do this as well. So we had 2 clients, they're both criminal defense attorneys. There's attorney A and attorney B. We ran a Facebook advertising campaign. It was the exact same ads, the exact same copy, the exact same landing page, the exact same offer, the exact same ad spend. Everything was identical. They both got 300 leads. Attorney A got 0 cases, not a single case. Attorney B got 75 cases from 300 leads. So I'll let you do the math on that, but they were DUI cases. And this is a very significant amount of income that came into this law firm's. I called attorney A and I said, what was the issue? How did you get 300 leads and not a single case? And I talked to him and he said, well, I called the leads, but they didn't pick up the phone, so I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I called attorney B and I said, what happened? How did you get 75 cases out of 300 leads? That's absolutely amazing. I talked to another attorney, we ran the exact same campaign, and he said he couldn't get anybody on the phone. And he said, well, yeah, nobody answers the phone the first time. I have this really cool system that I use to follow up with people over and over and over again called 3 times 3 ways. And that's how I get them on the phone and that's how I sign them up. So I was like, what is 3 times 3 ways? Well, it's a follow-up system. It's a system where basically on day 1, they get the lead, he sends them a text, and then about 15 minutes later, they get a phone call. And then after that, they get an email. And then on day 2, if they haven't heard back, they get another text, they get another call, and they get another email. And then on day 3, if they haven't heard back still, they get another text, they get another call, they get another email. And this process right here was the difference between 0 cases and 75 cases. It was just a simple follow-up process. And I know attorneys that will do this 15 times because of the fact that maybe they didn't answer on the 9th call, maybe they'll answer on the 12th call. You never know. And what happens is you get people who do eventually pick up the phone, who do respond, and they do eventually turn into clients, right? Now, this is the difference. The follow-up process is super, super important. Another part of follow-up that most lawyers violate is the follow-up after a consultation. So you run the ad, you get the consultation, they come in for the consultation, but for whatever reason, they don't hire you. Has that ever happened to you? How often do you reach back out to that person and follow up and see if they're ready to hire you, see if they've changed their mind, see if you can help them out with anything? There's a process that I use called by the way marketing that works very, very well, and it gets people to hire you after the follow-up. So here's how it works. You reach out to somebody a couple days after the consultation and you say, hi, client name or lead name. This is attorney Mike Smith. I just wanted to reach out and thank you for coming into my office the other day and sharing your story with me. By the way, I was thinking about your case and then you provide some value. That's all you have to do. We have a DUI attorney client. He's in Seattle. He messaged a lead and said, hey, this is attorney. His name's Lance. Thanks for coming in to my office to tell me about your DUI case. By the way, I was thinking about your case, and because you're in front of Judge so-and-so, the best defense would probably be XYZ, whatever the defense was. The lead picked up the phone and called him and hired him right there. We have another attorney who is a personal injury attorney. He was the 5th attorney that a particular client had interviewed for a particularly bad DoorDash accident. The lead was a DoorDash driver, and they'd already interviewed 4 other attorneys. They came into our client's office. He had a great meeting with him, but they decided not to retain him at that time. He sent them an email the next day said, thank you so much for coming in my office, sharing your story with me. By the way, here's a video that I recorded that talks about your exact situation and will probably give you some additional information and some resources so you can move forward and get this matter resolved, whether you go with me or not. So because he followed up, he provided value, they hired him as well. Fifth attorney, it was $1 million case, and it was all because he did this follow-up process. So if you want to get more clients, then you've got to follow up, right? So the 3 immutable laws of law firm lead generation. Number 1, sell the resort, not the plane ride. Number 2, understand the buyer's journey. And number 3, follow up, follow up, follow up. If you follow these rules and don't violate them, your law firm will grow like wildfire.